Hello and welcome to the Robbies Podcast, your destination for in-depth discussion and analysis of the Premier League and the Champions League. I'm Robbie Mustoe and he's Robbie Earle, and here are today's topics. Everton fight back from 2 goals down to beat Crystal Palace and secure their place in the Premier League for next season thanks to Dominic Calvert-Lewin's dramatic late winner. Burnley draw at Aston Villa and will fight it out with Leeds United to avoid relegation on the final day of the season. Arsenal's downward spiral continues with a 2-0 loss at Newcastle to give Spurs control of the top 4 race, and Liverpool come from behind to defeat Southampton 2-1 at St Mary's to set up a title race showdown on Championship Sunday. That's what we've got coming up in today's episode.
And before we get started, my friend, let's make sure to make the NBC Sports Predictor part of your match week routine. Play Premier League Pick'em for free for your chance at the $50,000 jackpot. Predict the outcome of the Premier League matches correctly and the jackpot is yours. Score big when you download the NBC Sports Predictor app today. Right, my friend. I'm not even going to ask you. I'm not even going to ask you where we're starting. I'm not even going to ask you what happened. Just put into whatever words the scenes and the drama and the incredible football game that we saw at Goodison Park.
Well, I mean, I think you go straight to the scenes afterwards and the celebration. We'll get into the bits and pieces with the game, but I think in terms of the relief factor, Rob, and the fans couldn't hold themselves back when a goal went in. The goal, they're 2-0 down, 3 goals in a dreamlike second half, and then the scenes afterwards. I think we got a sense that was going to happen, given the scenes around the ground before the game in previous home games when there's flares and the cheering in the team on the team bus. I think we know what it means to all football fans, Rob, to stay in this Premier League. Yeah. But this Everton kind of story or just kind of scenes that we've seen has been like, I'm not sure that if you can think of any relegation fight.
Not relegated teams.
Yeah, you often see the pitch invasion and people go when they win a championship or a win promotion or something like that. But that was kind of remarkable, wasn't it?
It was, and I got to tell you, it was a slight, for me, a deja vu moment. Because I think it was 94-95 season. We went to Everton, last game of the Premier League season. If we beat them, they got relegated. Guess what happened? We went 2-0 up in that game. Guess what happened? They came back 3-2, and the place went crazy, and people invaded the pitch. Wow. So I got a real deja vu moment. But this one somehow felt, I mean, maybe because you're watching it and you're not involved, it felt bigger. It felt more.
Just the amount of people, Rob, that were there, and the whole sea of fans, and
just before games, the scenes we've seen, and as you say, the fans, and Frank Lampard had come in, and I think we expected a change, and then all of a sudden, and as with Everton fans, there'll be a reality like, oh gosh, this is going to be it, and somehow we've said from I think the first time I saw teams that these fans ain't going to let this football club go down, mate. No. They're not going to let them go down. And they didn't. They didn't. And I know we have to be careful in the time when we see fans running on pitch and we saw the disgraceful scenes at Nottingham Forest. One, we have to say it's one person has got involved and quite rightly is now serving a prison sentence. But we have to worry about fans going on the pitch. But it was a day, Rob, where I felt that group of fans, those fans deserve to be on that pitch as much as the players. They deserved it today because, you know what, they've kept their club up.
I mean, this game, Rob, right, just going back to the football, I mean, Everton was bad football-wise. Yeah. They played with so much panic and frantic nature, and I get the desperation, right? I often want teams to play with desperation because, the need was great. Yeah. But some of they couldn't put 2 or 3 passes together. Of course, they go down in the game from Jean-Philippe Mateta and then Jordan Ayew. We have the incident where Ayew, like a minute before the goal.
I think it should have been a red card, Rob.
I think it should have been a red as well. The first time I saw it, I thought, it looks a little... But the angles we saw...
The more you see it, the more it looks red.
I know. And it's like... I think we'll never understand sometimes the VAR. Of course, it's got a ton of angles, same angles as us, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Why the referee's not looking at that, but, I mean...
interpretation, isn't it? It's all about interpretation. Opinion,
he's made a decision. He's not clearing obviously. It's not refereeing the decision. But in the end, I mean, they go 2-0 up. And at 2-0, I remember saying at half-time, this is big. This is Frank's Premier League career right here. It's a moment. And fair play to him, whatever he said, because he needed to cool them down. He needed to focus them. Jordan Pickford looked like he was off on one.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd made a little bit of mistake.
Again,
yeah, and I just wondered, like, how they're going to be. Put Dele Alli on, Rob.
Big decision.
Big decision. And proved to be the right decision.
It did.
Because Dele Alli got on the ball, played with a little bit of confidence, and got others playing. They started to play a bit of football, which they hadn't played in any of the first half.
Yeah.
It's a big call from Frank, and people will say, what was Dele Alli's worth? His worth of 45 minutes in a crucial game could well have saved him the season.
He helped with the Richarlison goal. He's
Yeah.
involved in that.
Yeah.
He did more so much more than Andre Gomez.
Yeah.
There's a footballer in the middle of the park, and I understand why you might start him, but Dele's, I think the desperation at 2-0 down was like, well, let's throw a attacking midfield player on. Guys, this is it right here. And they responded and started putting them under pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, initially from longer balls forward, but who cares? Like, who cares what it is?
Pressure, isn't it? The fans could get into the game then as well, because they were nervy in the first half.
They had no confidence level to try and play a way through. So it was longer balls, Dele running forward from midfield, and the goals kept coming, and the possibility, you're thinking, well, there's plenty of time for another goal, plenty of time for a winner. And what was it? The 85th minute, the time when time stood still, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin's flying through the air with his diving header, and
BCL.
And it finally came good. I thought he was poor the first half. All Everton players were poor in the first half.
It got to him a little bit. I think, again, I'll say sometimes you can want something too much, and they never got going. But, I mean, fair play to the team, fair play to Frank. You know, again, we've credited the fans, but that could have been still a 2-2 game, Rob, and still had something on. That was that, you know, especially how the other results were going. That could easily have ended up just 2-2, and you got a point, and then you still go into to Sunday with dread and fear and not jeopardy of not knowing what. But
what about Anthony Taylor, the referee, Rob? Not only that red card, there was other fouls in the game. People sliding.
He lost
a little bit of control, I thought. And I thought the game was going to, someone's going to get sent off because all these sliding
Michael
challenges.
Keane went in on one challenge.
Yeah, there was a few of them.
Somebody else did a scissor challenge,
didn't
they?
There's 2 or 3.
So,
but at the end of the day, my friend, Everton Football Club have managed to stay in the league. They're going to be there next season to huge relief. Let's quickly kind of summarise what we've seen this season, what we should expect to see. I mean, they can't have this again, mate.
No. Listen, I'll tell you what. This group of fans won't allow this again, Rob. They've done everything in their powers to make sure this team. Now they deserve and they will expect better. And quite right. Listen, things are going to have to change at the club, whether it's personnel or the way they play, or obviously giving silly goals away.
Yeah, even structure of the club, Rob.
It needs a shake. It needs a refresh. Frank's got the kind of staff that he supposedly want. They've got out of trouble. Now they've got to start. Frank's got to show we can build something. This is his chance now. He's got to build, because if he builds something, Rob, it's a proper club,
you say that, but that's a big if. If they build something. Are they going to have money available? We know there's some financial fair play issues that Everton have been close to breaking the rules, the amount of money they've lost.
Yeah.
So they've got to be careful with that. This squad has shown that it's a struggling squad for the Premier League.
Yeah.
They're going to be maybe 39, maybe a few more points.
Yeah.
So Frank Lampard still, I'm sure would have benefited and learned a lot in this last kind of second half of the season. They've got to make some good signings. Else they could be in and around the bottom half of the table again.
But good signings, Rob, or this football club is still big enough, still has enough stature to be a draw to players coming, maybe, certainly some players in the Premier League and players from overseas. They've got to start to find, and I know he's a world class, but the Kantés and the Fofanas and
that's exceptional recruitment. Isn't it?
But that's what they're going to need, Rob, because they're not going to be able to do it the other way.
That's modern day
football, finding good players, or going to the Brightons and go and get Trossard if you think he's good enough to take you next level. Go to Brentford.
Some of their midfield players,
go
some of their
and, people who've proven. That's what Everton have got to come. There's got to be an ambition for this team to do better. It can't be bottom half team again. It just doesn't feel right. New stadium coming up and all that. Massive time ahead for this club. The other team in red flying it, in all competitions. Some big calls to do in the summer.
You know what's nice about that, and I'll finish with this, Rob. That, I think the Everton Football Club fan base in America is actually pretty big.
Yeah, it's very big.
for teams that aren't the very top boys that everybody seems to support.
Yeah.
I of course I'm pleased that the football fans in America have seen what Everton's all about, because it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And to see that amount of care and passion and the reaction there for a team that had a shocking season, it just gives people a little bit more, I think, insight into the way the club is.
It felt more like a college, those crazy college games where everybody's in the community, and it felt more like that.
But it showed itself, I think, like its true colours to America. And all over the world, of course, but just here for our, listeners and stuff. That was a pretty cool thing to experience today for me and you in the studio, and everybody in the studio was jumping around, and the scenes at the end was pretty crazy. Where, of course, we wanted to stay with those pictures and show everybody what it meant.
Absolutely,
crazy.
Going on to Aston Villa was another important game. Aston Villa played Burnley for the second time in a few weeks. Villa won at Burnley 3-1. So difficult one for Michael Jackson, who talked about his team and just focusing on this one game, and important that they try and get something from the game. They did in the end, mate. They got a 1-1 draw, courtesy of an Ashley Barnes penalty. Buendia came up with an equaliser for Villa. It went both ways, and then there was a great block at the end from Tyrone Mings on big Wout Weghorst that would have made it 2-1 for Burnley. So, listen, Michael Jackson, Rob, in terms of going into the football club, they've had a couple of not great results, but he's still picking up points, and they're still breathing going into that last game in a way where I kind of think, based on Everton staying up, I think I'd rather be in Burnley's dressing room.
You would now.
Than Leeds,
That is a massive point, because it puts them both, Burnley and Leeds, on 35. We know Leeds' goal difference is a shocker. It's minus 38.
That's the point gone, isn't it?
And Burnley's minus 18. So they've got 20. So forget about that. So it is worth a point. So that point means that Leeds have got a better Burnley's result. And Leeds are away at Brentford and Burnley at home against Newcastle. Now, if the Newcastle turn up, they played against Arsenal that we'll talk about in a few seconds, then that's going to be a very difficult game for Burnley, Rob. A very difficult game for Burnley.
Yeah. But at home, Rob, against a team, when you've had a bit of form. It's a Burnley team who've had a bit of form, can remember winning, can remember getting results. It's a Leeds team that scraped a late equaliser.
No, I'd rather be Burnley.
Yeah.
Of course I'd rather be Burnley.
I just don't...
It's just what's on Newcastle we're going to see. Are Newcastle going to go as strong as they did against...
You just sense that Eddie's got things going. You talk about the Leeds fans travelling. The Newcastle fans will all be travelling down Burnley. Their last game in the Premier League, in a league at a time when they could have gone out of it, supporting Eddie Howe, new regime,
excitement.
And oof.
Yeah,
oof.
so
it ain't going to be...
So those two teams both playing at home, of course, and it's going to be amazing. I mean, sorry, not playing at home, Brentford at home against Leeds.
Yeah. Brentford can play free, can't they? Got good forwards, Wieser, Tony and Bomo all scoring goals. Norgard and Eriksson in good form, last day at community. They would have been thinking, some Brentford fans would have been thinking, this last day at home, we could need something to stay in the league. They're well clear of that now and can play relaxed.
The thing that just, Leeds have to play better. And I just don't know whether they've got it in them.
They haven't played that well for a little while, have they?
They didn't look like it against Brighton just recently. So
let's talk about a team that were playing very well, that had a huge game at St James's Park. Newcastle hosted Arsenal. Arsenal had just come off the North London derby. The defeat there. Came into this game still in control of fourth spot, Rob. And this was a huge game for Mikel Arteta, for the group of players, for the football club, to get Champions League football, to have it in their hands, to have a chance of Champions League football. And they failed miserably, my friend.
They did. I didn't see that coming, though maybe I should have done. And others tipped Spurs to do it. I still thought 2 games left, regroup a little bit. And Newcastle, I was so impressed with them. Of course, Arsenal didn't play well, but Newcastle's energy and pressing and quality was wow, this team and really good demonstration of how they've come forward. Arsenal aren't ready. They're not ready yet for top 4. In critical moments, that young team, for the most part, and by the way, ain't just the young players, the experienced ones as well, just couldn't hold it together to get over the line, and is pretty meek in this game.
Was it? I felt that the derby wasn't out of the system. It looked to me, Rob, like it's one of those games where you've had the derby, the disappointment's that strong, It didn't look like they had the energy, didn't look like they had the drive, the quality. It looked flat. I mean, Mikel Arteta's face at the end, he had no excuses in fairness.
No.
He called it exactly as it was,
Yeah.
And said they're not ready. Now, I think, listen, Europa League football, based on where they've come and all that, which doesn't feel good if you're an Arsenal fan, it isn't what you want to hear, but it isn't a bad place to be. I still think, Rob, for me, I call this the season of learning for Arsenal. They're going to go through some times, which they did early, but I thought the other night was a learning for Arteta and a learning for his group of players. I think the manager as well, Rob. When I look at the other four that look like they're going to get there.
But what could he have done differently then?
Well, I don't know, but what I'm saying, Rob, is what I saw, I was watching the game, I wasn't in the studio. What I saw was, when he said, I don't know what happened, it's almost like he couldn't affect it. Now, I'm saying if it's Klopp, if it's Tuchel, if it's Kante, somehow
expected changes at half-time, didn't we? We expect something different.
They affect something. Yeah. And maybe that's a learning of Mikel Arteta. Young coach, done some great things. I think is building something. He's got an identity. They're going to need better players. They're going to need a little bit of time and support. But I like what he's doing and I like the project. But I thought he didn't affect the game against Newcastle, and that's got to be a learning for him to make him a better coach.
I think the team needs some physicality in the transfer window. They've got the technical young players, which is great, which is maybe the hardest part to find in a team. They've got some good players that can do that. A bit more physicality. They missed some physical players, of course. Thomas Partey's missing, Tielemans missing. So they needed a few more of those. Just what I was going to ask you, Rob, and there's been a reaction that a lot of it I disagree with, just in terms of Arteta and the team and the club, like a failure. That they were in control of fourth spot. It's now a failure of them this season not to finish it. I strongly disagree with that. Given the amount of changes, given that, I mean, the start was difficult. They didn't have a lot of their new players, etc. in the side, but the changes they've had to kind of consume and handle, and to finish way above some big clubs, and of course Man United being the standout one there. But they've made strides, good positive movements. Just going to miss out. By the way, they might not miss out. They still got an outside chance of it happening.
This is the craziest season we can ever remember. I mean,
but it's not a failure. It's not a failure.
Pukki could score 6 goals against.
I know, but it's not a failure.
It's interesting as well, Rob, because on our last show together we had a heated disagreement on. You said, it's better for Spurs, or it's more important for Spurs to get there where they are.
I thought,
and I thought more not Arsenal. And listen, we had a healthy difference of opinion on it, which at times is how football should be debated, and everybody has the opinion. What I was saying, my overview of my thoughts are, if Arsenal finish 4th, they deserve to be there. And you know what, Spurs, tough. You'll have to. But guess what? It works the other way. They did have it in their hands, and they weren't ready. And being not ready is part of what happens in a season. And if Spurs pip you to the line by beating Norwich, which we expect, and Conte takes you there, that's what the Champions League spot has come down to. Arsenal weren't quite ready when it was there for them, and Spurs were.
Just a quick line. Arsenal play Everton the last day of the season. Yeah. I don't know what we're going to kind of see from Everton.
That'll be a party, mate. That's a party, isn't it?
Everton need to. I mean, Arsenal. No regrets. No. Don't get the job done. Don't get the job done.
They need to finish the season properly as well. By the way, 2 defeats now in the derby and then at Newcastle. They need to put in a decent performance at home, just to remind people that he's got something building there. A quick mention of a couple of games that came up today. Chelsea won, Leicester won. Chelsea now officially in Champions League spots. I was listening to a radio debate earlier today, mate, and there's a little bit of talk about after Tuchel's presser, and he was just talking about 1 or 2 things, and he's got things to sort out.
Got a lot of things to sort out.
Yeah, Rudiger's obviously gone. The Christensen thing sounds a bit weird when he's telling him just before games he didn't want to play. Apparently, FA Cup was similar. He's got a front line that's not firing.
Right, none of them.
Somebody came on, it was a Chelsea fan who came on the radio and said, I'm a little bit worried for my Chelsea. It's different ownership. We don't quite know what's going to come. We've got a great manager, we believe, and things, but we've got a very, transient kind of squad at the moment, and we ain't got a set of forwards who score goals. He kind of said, I'm not worried about a top 4 finish next season.
Well, yeah, I mean, and also, by the way, the ownership thing, there's been a bit of a wrinkle. And the license runs out.
May, haven't they?
The license runs out runs out the end of May.
Yeah.
The Premier League need to give the licenses out to the 20 teams, I think, in the first week of June or something. There's a little bit of wiggle room there. Something like that. So that's obviously the first thing. And I think that's going to happen, Rob. I think that's going to happen.
I can't believe it.
But no, there's a lot of issues. And they need that ownership done so they can do some trading, player trading. That's what the game's all about. You know, you have to do your business. You have to sell who doesn't want to be there, who hasn't been doing the business. You have to bring new guys in. Until that settles down, and they've still got issues. And Thomas Tuchel's got a ton of praise and credit and you know, Champions League and all that. And the issues up front worry me because, like, is that all season to find the 2 or 3 players and for it to click and for the chemistry to be better and to be like, but he still doesn't know his front three, does he? I mean, we saw Lukaku missed a decent chance with a header. Christian Pulisic will be, well, we saw he was rage and angry with himself for missing from 5 or 6 yards out. Should score. That's a bad error. So it's just, I mean, to that point, you know, there are a lot of things for Chelsea to sort out, and it's got to happen in a little window. Before you know it, we'll be back in pre-season. We'll be back in the studio, the first game of the season. So, Chelsea, decent season. I think better than last year. I think, you know, in terms of their points. Finish. But lots of issues still to sort out in the summer.
Absolutely. A team who don't seem to have any issues, despite who they put out, can make 9 changes to an FA Cup winning team and still get the job done. Liverpool went to St Mary's, needing to get a result to keep things alive for the last Sunday. And no surprise, they got it done. Not to the sausage you'd probably think. Minamino gets the first goal, was on loan at Southampton second half of last year. Joel Matip somehow gets his head to a ball that sort of bounces off his head, finds the back of the net. Liverpool managed to get themselves through the game with the likes of Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, James Milner, Joe Gomez,
Tsimikas,
Minamino.
Minamino came in, played well.
There's only 2 players from the FA Cup win that started in the games. Incredible.
I mean, the first word I wrote in the notes for this game was risky. Or I could have put brave. These other words to describe the Jurgen Klopp here.
Risky had to take based on the noise that was coming out, the tiredness of players.
The amount of changes in a game that's incredibly critical to take this thing.
Rebecca was in the studio going, has he gone too far? Is it too much? He was kind of asking us.
Did you read the article? I think the last couple of days, Rob, they're using this new AI
this neuroscience software.
I think it's a US Silicon Valley-based company about assessing players' fitness, health, and injury
and
potential.
He's apparently,
I think he's trusting it.
Yeah, trusts it. And I think a few players have red zone and possible injuries. And
to go 1-0 down in the game, a kind of a deflection. We saw that it was a foul, wasn't it? It was a foul. For the Southampton goal where Redmond goes inside and Klopp gets angry on the sideline because he kind of sees what's going to happen there. I thought it was a foul. I don't think he gets the ball. Again,
Lianco goes through Jota, doesn't he? And takes his foot, gets the ball. But
fair play, Rob. Fair play to this Liverpool squad. The players that come in.
No Salah involved, no Mane. I mean, 2 of your biggest, best players who you've needed. Like, out you go, rest. Trent, out you go. Rest.
Diaz,
was on the bench, I think, wasn't he?
Did he come in? Yeah.
I think he was on the bench.
Fabinho's still recovering. Robertson, there's a ton of players rested, so that's great for them to win that game for Sunday.
Mentally and physically not involved, should be ready to go firing. If whatever happens, that they're going to be on fire at Anfield.
Yeah.
How about the old boy?
The old Mr. You're thinking of the same guy.
2002 debut in the Premier League. Started as 16-year-old.
I feel like he's been around for the whole since the Premier League's been around.
I
mean, he's been around forever. James
playing
Milner.
at a level. Producing at level, starts in midfield, his favourite position, ends up at right back. Was asked after the game how he feels about it. He said, "Don't really like right back, but I'll do what I got to do."
Always says the same.
He'll do what he's got to do. His standards, his drive, his professionalism are a beacon to the Curtis Joneses, to the Harvey Elliots. About they're starting their career, and you have to look across to that guy. And that's who you need to emulate. That's what
influence on the field, but as much off the field. Jurgen Klopp said before that he couldn't imagine Liverpool and being around the club without him there. So wherever you look at young talent, skill, experienced players, leaders, game changers, Liverpool have got everything.
Is that sort of the bit that Arsenal miss? A bit of that,
or lots of that.
Yeah.
Lots of that. They've got the young talent.
Yeah.
But they haven't got the physicality. They haven't got the leaders. They haven't got the experienced player. They haven't got. There's lots
There's
of
an element. Yeah.
But in terms of trying to assess a squad and the whole club, God, Liverpool don't have to tick the boxes, Rob. Is it 60 games Liverpool have played this
61
season?
now.
61.
That was 61st game.
Was it 61st?
Lost 3.
They've lost 3.
Yeah. One of them was against Inter, which was a bit of a jolly up anyway.
That's pretty remarkable.
It's incredible.
I had a quick look at Man City.
Incredible.
Again, I'm probably going to get wrong, but I think they've lost 7. And of course, they've played fewer than Liverpool. Again, don't quote me on that, but I quick scan through, and I think it's 7 losses for Man City this season. It just shows you, by the way. And how hard is that? In all these
competitions all the way through. I mean, extra minutes in the FA Cup and 20 minutes.
It's a remarkable effort by this club to get in the situation they're in 3 cup finals, and they're within 1 point of a very, very, very expensively assembled squad in Manchester City, and they're right with them, 1 point. With it all to play for in the final.
Do you know one thing he mentioned as well, I just wanted to bring out, was he talked about the training ground and how hard people work, who know they're not going to play. And Oxlade-Chamberlain, he said, I feel sad that I can't get him in my team, and Minamino doesn't have many minutes. And all these players, he said, who put it in every week. He said, when he first came to the football club, he used to play his first 11 v second 11. You know, sometimes you play a half-hour game or something. And he said the first 11 used to batter the second 11. He said, now I play my first 11 against the second 11. Sometimes the second 11 almost win the game. He said, that's what's changed in my time at the football club.
I would say, though, Rob, on that, right, and I get that, and the squad is, what was a quote the other day I heard, like, the most important players are ones that are not in the team. Like, but when you're in a season where there's so much stuff going on, like, it's something special. I think disgruntled pros, if the first team's not doing great, but when there's so much going well, you want to be part of it.
You want to play your part, don't you? They've won an FA Cup medal the other week. You want to do your bit.
There's no disgruntled pros in this scenario for Liverpool. And the manager wouldn't have it anyway.
He manages it really well, doesn't he? So, look, quick line on Southampton, my friend, just before we go, because I just thought, not very good, Ralph, really. And I know it's difficult, and I know they're not...
Did he change, though, with us, didn't he? I feel like sometimes we say, what good manager he is. And
but that was disappointing, wasn't it?
Yeah. I know, the season disappointing. They've had a terrible run.
No goals.
I think I had him to go down.
None in 12. Shea Adams, none in 8. They bought Adam Armstrong, that's been in and out. I know they lost Danny Ings, and I know that's a big loss. And I don't know, I just felt a little bit more. Last game at home, I usually remember when, we're good old Wimbledon. We ain't winning titles. We're not winning too many FA Cups and League Cups. When a big boy comes to your place, it's a big game, mate. And if you play well against them, fans will remember that for years. People who I meet say, I remember when we went to United and we got them. Remember when we beat Liverpool up? I just felt like Southampton didn't really...
Well, they've got...
Show any ambition.
Totally agree.
I thought
there's no excitement in the lap of honour at the end. All the fans were not there, which is whatever. Fans do what they want to do. There's new owners at this football club, Rob. There's new ownership. There's a new smart board and a smart football director, Rasmus Ankerson, that was at Brentford. So there could be some better times ahead. Expect some intelligent, smart recruitment in the summer. And Ralph Hasenhüttl, come on, we need more consistent.
Kick on a little bit now.
Southampton. With these new players, are probably going to come into the club.
Listen quickly, mate, before we head off, because we are heading to the UK tonight. Ahead of the weekend's games. We'll be at Anfield, sideline. Quick thoughts on what drama happens at the top of the table, my friend.
Well, I won't be surprised if Liverpool comfortably win their game.
Against Wolves.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there's late drama at Man City.
Drama being
that there's nail biting going on.
Ooh.
Because you've got to remember, like, even if City are winning by a goal, right, they need to win the game.
Yeah.
That's a few seconds away from an equalising goal and loss of championship. Now, remember the QPR in 2012, was it, with the Aguero goal and all that? Yeah. That was QPR.
Yeah.
And they created a little bit of drama there. No, I'm not. City are a brilliant team. They've been great at home, but unless they get 2 or 3 goals up pretty early, when they can really relax, it's gonna. If it's tight, it's tight.
The fans and that will be.
Somebody
suggested there's going to be more nerves at City than Liverpool.
Totally.
Because Liverpool. I heard a Liverpool fan say, "We're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate the season, the 2 wins. If we finish second, then we go into the Champions
final
League
to enjoy."
That celebration with City,
the nerves
you feel
are going
like
to be
there's an expectancy. I just think City's football. I think Walker and Stones have been training the last couple of days, so must have a chance. Certainly been in the squad. I just think. a Villa team that played today, a couple of days rest, Rob, and then they've got to go again. I know the Stevie G and the Liverpool links and all that, but City's football finds a way.
Yeah, Villa was strong today as well. I mean, if you put it in percentage terms, so for City to win their game, I would probably go, given the occasion, I'd still go 70-30.
75, 20, 75.
I think the bookmakers have even looked bigger than that.
Yeah, 75.
I just think if they're a goal up, they're going to be nervous. So they go for another goal. And Villa have got some good attacking players.
Yeah.
And if some of those Walker doesn't play, for example, they can get caught over the top, the pace.
Ings was on the bench and Watkins, obviously. So,
Top four finish?
Top four finish. Can't look beyond Spurs getting that one done, really.
No.
Norwich, worst team in the league, concede goals with that front three.
Yeah,
it should be done. And relegation, we've talked about. I think there's real pressure on Leeds. If Leeds go 1-0 down, that's going to be really hard for them.
I just don't think they're playing well enough to get a better result away at Brentford than Burnley at home to Newcastle.
So. That's what we will be flying for, mate. That's why we'll be there at the big weekend. The drama just keeps on coming in this Premier League. We're down to last games of the season. Liverpool win at St Mary's, so it's all on for the title race at the top and who wins the title. Everton came from 2-0 down to win 3-2. Some amazing scenes at Goodison Park. And now Burnley and Leeds slug it out to see who stays in the league this time around. We'll be at Anfield on the side of the pitch. Hopefully we get a bit of time amongst all the celebration and whatever has gone on to do a last podcast on the Premier League for the season. But for now, I'm Earle. He's Mustoe, together with the two Robbies. Thanks for watching and listening. Be safe, stay healthy. It's a good night for me.
And it's good night for the team. Good night.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch highlights all season long, and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend at 7 a.m. Eastern. And for even more content, head over to Peacock, where we've got live games, original series and a dedicated round-the-clock Premier League channel featuring studio shows, classic matches and much more.